Hello and welcome to highlights of Horizon Racing League Season 6, Round 8 from the iconic Suzuka. My name is Chris, otherwise known as Screenlight, going to be taking you through the action for a Japanese Grand Prix where our wildcard is enforced cockpit cameras for all drivers. But before we get into the action here, let's take a look at how the season has gone so far. Mate took another 2 victories at our doubleheader in Austria, both the reverse layout and standard layout, meaning he has pretty much one hand on the driver's title already. He took the victory in the reverse layout by 4.7 seconds from a 6 Pompano fight. Tommy Ash took 3rd, Sykes Snipes took 4th ahead of Alfie, Baza, Dabasaurus, Vampire, Bunny's Vengeance, Perpetual, who took the points in the reverse round. And in the traditional layout, Mate once again took victory, this time ahead of the Scottish by 6.8 seconds with 6 Pompano in 3rd. Vampire, Sykes Snipes, Bunny's Vengeance, Tommy Ash, Mac Chan, Perpetual and Andy took the points. Mac Chan got driver of the day for a really great performance. That means there's a 50-point gap between Mate, 6 Pompano and the Scottish. Sykes Snipes and Bunny's Vengeance moved ahead of Hydro Jacks, while Tommy slotted in just behind Vampire. Jimmy Alex didn't score in his one and only reservist drive this season. Stevie Jr. and 3 Portas also yet to drive, so all remain on 0. Mate leads the way in the Platinum class standings as you'd expect, with the Scottish in 2nd, just 4 points ahead of 6 Pompano, and the gap between Tommy and Vampire for 4th is just 2 points. Sykes Snipes leads the gold standings by 10 points, with Perpetual the only other driver in competition there, just a little ways back in 3rd behind Bunny's Vengeance. He took the lead of the silver class coming out of Austria, not far ahead of Baza. Vibs and Sign haven't driven for a couple of rounds. They've signed back for Japan, so can at least close in on the guys ahead. Dabasaurus took the lead of the bronze class by 30 points ahead of Mac Chan. Rover sits 3rd, while Lewis and Alfie catching up after joining this class halfway through the season. Joker jumped Hydrojax to take lead of D class, with Scornful Griffin and Jimmy the only others to score points. Thundercart, Ames and Sprout and Elijah and 3 Portas all dropping into the reserves after starting the season's full-time drivers. Ferrari lead the way in the constructor standings. RB sit in 2nd, just ahead of McLaren, while Alpine, Williams and Haas all jumped Horizon Racing, the reservists, through Austria. So that's where we're at heading into Japan. Suzuka, the only figure 8 circuit on the Formula 1 calendar, and a circuit I think a lot of people really love for not just Formula 1, but plenty of other disciplines. Let's take a look at the track. The Suzuka International Racing Course in Japan, 5.807 kilometres, 18 turns. The Scottish and Bunny's Vengeance hold win records here, though nowhere near Michael Schumacher, who holds 6 wins in the real world. This is another iconic circuit, much like Spa earlier on in the season, and we head down to first turn, which is actually a double apex right-hander, turns 1 and 2. You want to ease off the throttle before braking and then just drift in the car through 2, and then it's into the S's. Just constant turn of the wheel, always looking where you can pick up the throttle earlier, where you can just keep a little bit more speed before you head up to Dunlop, turn number 7. this long left-hander where you are now just flat to the floor before you get to the Degners. Degner 1, roll off the throttle, heavy braking into Degner 2. Can get a little bit closer to the apex on entry, but you can run wide and use that there as you head up towards the hairpin. Turns 10 and 11. Real heavy braking zone, but it's just getting the car pointed before getting on the throttle and out through 12, this long right-hander before the legendary double left-hander at Spoon. Roll off the throttle in the first part, a little bit of braking in the second, but you can still take a fair amount of speed through here. Use that exit curve to your advantage before heading up to the fearsome 130R, the left-hander here. Flat in modern Formula 1, just keep your foot pinned, take a little bit of exit if you need to. Then into the Casio Triangle, the chicane where we've seen so many incidents in the past. Bounce over both entry and exit curves before rolling it through turn 18 and back down towards the start of the lap. That's a lap of the Suzuka International Racing course. Let's take a look at how our drivers lined up for this 50% distance race. I'm Your Mate took pole, though Vampire ran in pretty close in second. Tommy took third ahead of Bunny's Vengeance. Very impressive from the Williams, ahead of Bazza, Joker, Syme, Mac Chan in the top 10 with Andy and Rover. Davasaurus took 11th ahead of Perpetual. Alfie could only manage 13th, struggling with the cockpit cam, and the Scottish, as usual, joined late and had to start from the back. Can anyone stop I'm Your Mate after a week away? Let's head over to the race and see what happened. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, and 5. And away we go at Suzuka. The hold wasn't too long, as we've already got Davasaurus making moves. Joker up ahead of Bazza, but I'm Your Mate clean into turn 1. Everybody seems to have got through okay. We've got Joker up the inside of Bazza, but it's all clean and tidy. The Scottish has passed Rover, who's had a bad start. Let's look at a couple of things that happened at the start. Let's start with Bazza's get away from the line. Gets away pretty well, actually, here. Car doesn't seem to bog down whatsoever, and he's immediately on the battery to try and get a good run into first turn. But as you can see, tries to hang it around the outside. There's a little bit of contact with Joker. Both of them managed to get away with it, but Bazza may have picked up just a little bit of front wing end plate damage. And let's see what happened to Rover further back. You can see that he's taking it fairly steady, keeping to the inside, letting everybody make their way into first turn. As he gets in, he loses the rear maybe just a little bit, throws him off track. But as he starts heading up towards the S's, you can see that Perpetual's AI Ghost is still there. Rover gets on the power and gets straight into the back of the Scottish, picks up some damage. As Davasaurus goes past Andy and Alfie. Alfie there fighting with Andy, will ride on board quickly with the RB, but he's kept Andy behind him. Everybody in a single file. Perpetual at the back, the car's still circulating, but obviously not connected. But it's nearly 0.6 of a second out front already. The Scottish... Oh, there's contact. There was some contact there. I think Rover has just got past Perpetual at the back, but I think that Davasaurus with front wing damage, I think it is, you know. I think Davasaurus might have gone into the back of Syme. Which could give Alfie the opportunity to have a crack. No, all seems okay at the moment. May have just been a little bit of a bump and run as Mac Chan's gone wide. He joins just in front of Syme, Davasaurus, and Mac Chan's off. Mac Chan is off. Let's look at Davasaurus and Alfie, as Alfie makes it through on DJ Davasaurus. Take a look at what happened to Mac Chan. Let's follow him through the hairpin. You can see that Bazza's trying to get at the inside of Joker using the switchback, and Syme is a little further back from the McLaren. As we head up towards Spoon, there's a little bit of contact. You can see the debris. Mac Chan backs off to try and avoid it, clips the grass ever so slightly, and is straight off the road. Tries to get back through in the middle of Spoon, doesn't manage it, ends up in the gravel. Bazza taking a look at the back of Joker. Mac Chan back on the circuit ahead of Rover. Gap at the front, 0.2 of a second. Vampire is caught right back up as the Scottish goes past Andy for 10th. we've got Syme off there. Or is that Joker? That was Joker was off circuit. Ran it a little bit wide through the second deck. Now Bazza takes that one. Thank you very much. Watch that with Bazza. Coming up towards Dunlop, you can see Joker's a little bit further ahead, but Bazza seems to have pretty decent traction through Dunlop at the top of the hill, and he gets into Degner, and you'll watch Joker up ahead. He clips the inside curb too much, runs straight off the road. Easy overtake for Bazza. And there's Tommy, there's Bunny, then there's a gap. We've got Joker versus Bazza. Joker to the inside into first turn. Alfie's done the same to Syme behind. Machan's gone past Andy. 3 passes, I think, in one corner there. Good moves from everybody. It looks like Bazza's going to go charging after Joker already, though. Passed into turn 1 at the start of the last lap. Look at that. He's right up behind the Alfa Romeo. The Kick Sauber. In through Casio. Waits behind him. Possibly tactical because he knows he's going to get DRS. Is he close enough, though? DRS is open. Yeah, easily close enough. He will just breeze past the Sauber lane into first turn. Easily done, as Dabosaurus does the same thing to Syme a bit further back. Runs a little wide though, and there's a little bit of contact. See Syme wiggling there as the front wing caught the back of the Mercedes, but both get away with it. Oh, I don't know what's happened to Machan there, but he's let Dabosaurus go. Syme is there now too. The Scottish will be on the back of this very, very shortly. Machan here as he's chasing down Syme and Dabosaurus up ahead into Degner. You can see Dabosaurus is struggling a little bit on those soft tyres, but Machan absolutely sends it into the hairpin to get up the inside of Syme. There's a little bit of contact, nothing too major, but the McLaren's through. The McLaren boys have been very good with team play this season as Machan once again runs wide through Spoon. Thank you very much. Through goes Syme. And Andy's going to have the run on him as well. Let's watch this from the Scottish perspective though, because he's trying to pass Andy at the same time he gets past him. Machan's got to be sensible about this into 130R. Does he just lift off towards Casio? Yep, he does. Stays to the inside, lifts off, but then attacks. And the McLarens have made contact. There's a yellow flag out. I think Alfie's gone round in the final corner. Machan in the thick of it in this 4th lap as he's up behind Dabosaurus coming through Spoon. Still struggling to get the car turned in like he was earlier in the race. It runs off circuit once again. That allows Syme through. And you can see he's got the Alpine of Andy in his mirrors. Syme goes past Dabosaurus up ahead, who's really struggling now on those soft tyres. Machan knows that the Scottish is the car immediately behind. So he comes out of 130R, backs it off just a little bit to try and let his teammate through, but then it gets on the power too early. They collide, and he nearly loses the rear of the car. Scottish gets through though, and Machan lives to fight another day. So he's slowed down the start. So the Scottish is past Alfie. Syme's got back through. He's fighting with Dabosaurus up ahead. And Syme is through. This little string of cars at the back, Dabosaurus seems to be struggling on those soft tyres already. He's got the Scottish for company now. That's keeping Alfie and Machan together. Andy right at the back of this queue just watching. As the Scottish goes around the outside of Dabosaurus through Dunlop. Great move from the McLaren man. Dabosaurus wide through the first Degner, wide through the second. He's going to go straight off the road. Manages to avoid the gravel, but he's fallen behind Andy now as well as Alfie and Machan switch places. Machan, though, runs very wide. Is Alfie going to get the switch back on him? No, he's not, as Tommy has picked up a 3-second time penalty for track limits. That's right on board with Dabosaurus here. He's got the Scottish right up behind him. You can see he's almost pushing them through the S's. And the Scottish looks to the outside at Dunlop. He's made the move, and as Dabosaurus gets into Degner, the tyres wearing out just a little bit, struggling to stay on circuit, gets the gravel a little bit as he moves out of Alfie's way. He's off, loses 3 more spots. And we watched that from on board with Machan as well, because there was a little bit more for him and Alfie a bit further on the lap. You can see the Scottish there going outside at Dunlop. Alfie's keeping close eyes on this one as well as Davisaurus runs wide through the first Degner. Alfie goes for the dive in Degner 2. Mac-Chan does the same. Alfie runs wide and it gives Mac-Chan the opportunity to go round the outside before they even get into the hairpin. Mac nearly gets it wrong through the middle, but gets away with it. Gap nearly 5 seconds between the top two. I'm Your Mate is running away with it. Scottish has gone past time using the DRS down the start-finish straight. Alfie's done the same there to Mac-Chan. Andy not far behind them. Davisaurus has fallen a little bit off the back when it started on the softs. All the gaps have spread out other than, I'm looking at Alfie, Mac and Andy as Alfie runs wide through Degner 2. Allows Mac-Chan the opportunity to go past. Andy will just about stay behind the RB, but he's struggling. He's lost a bit of front wing, the back end wagging its tail. Andy round the outside, he's on the grass. Big commitment there from the Alpine and he's through.
Finally back into DRS here.
What is that?
Mac-Chan was having an awful lot of fun in the early stages of this race. He's chasing down Alfie and the RB once again. These two had a few on-track moments already in this race. Up through Dunlop, you can see Alfie's actually getting away from McLaren at this point, but as they head into the Degners, Alfie's going to make maybe just a little mistake through Degner 2. You can see the back end goes and he hits it straight into the wall. Easy pass for Mac-Chan. Let's head back up to Tommy, who's going to take a look down into first turn on Vampire. No contact, but Vampire goes off the road. Tommy's through. Bunny's Vengeance is now going to be taking a look. Alfie is into the pits. But he's not close enough through the S's as they head up towards Dunlop. Here we go in sector 1. No, Mac-Chan's going backwards. Yeah, I think he's lost it. Back up to speed, just ahead of Davisaurus. Back on board with Mac-Chan in McLaren for the umpteenth time in this race, having quite the enjoyable race of it as he heads up through Dunlop. You can see the rears trying to slip out and he runs it wide onto the grass. He goes sideways. One car goes past. 2 cars,
Well, he's just destroying
but
his race for fun,
he keeps it
doesn't
out of
he?
the barrier. He lost a couple of positions. That elevates Andy up to P7. He's got Vampire hot on his heels. Fresh tyres on that Mercedes, having taken a pit stop. I wonder if Andy's going to fight this that hard as he struggles to get the car turned in through Spoon. Vampire right up behind the Alpine will surely be on the batteries. Davisaurus gets a time penalty for track limits. Yeah, easily done up towards 130R. Vampire will cut across to the racing line, and he's still looking, keeping himself in the mirrors of the Mercedes. These two had a pretty monumental tussle last season. It's not quite been as close this year. As I'm Your Mate just holds off, doesn't want to go for a dive into Casio, but look at him, he's right there. Tommy's in. The Scottish will stay out, but I'm Your Mate surely going to go by. Vampire's gone past Simon further back, but as we say that, there goes I'm Your Mate, he's through. Bazza's currently second, has I'm Your Mate very close behind for company here. Davisaurus gets past Rover down near the back, but we'll stay with the championship leader because you can see Baz is struggling. A little bit of grass for I'm Your Mate, but he is through on the run towards 130R. The Haas is going to follow him. Wondering there if Baz was going to try and move up the inside a la Ayrton Senna. Decided against it. He gets a big drift out of Spoon. Mac-Chan staying with Andy here. They're all within a few tenths of each other. So Mac-Chan has a think about it down towards 130. He's not quite going to go for the move there as Alfie's struggling ahead of Andy here. Really struggling. Car just drifting about through the corners, but Andy's going to have DRS. Mac Chan's going to have DRS. Alfie stays central. He's going to try and defend Andy. Is it going to be a late move into first turn? A little bit of grass. There's contact, I think. Andy's off. We'll see that incident from on board with Andy. You can see here he's got the overspeed on the RB and goes up the inside, but he gets onto the grass, clips the back of the RB, which sends Alfie off, but almost spins the Alpine round. No major damage and can carry on. Alfie's off across the grass. Mac Chan's through both of them. As Alfie backs off, he's let Andy through. He's redressed the situation there, really heads up driving. Andy's through, back into P10. Oh, Mac Chan really benefited from that P11 to P9 in just a couple of corners. So the Scottish trying to run this on a one-stop. Doing okay at the moment. 13.5 seconds off the lead, but 10 laps to go. Could easily switch to the mediums here. And straight off goes the Scottish. Don't know what happened there, but he was immediately, as soon as I said, oh, I might be able to switch to mediums and have a steady ride to the back end, straight off the road through the first Degner. Lost all control. Regained it. It's cost him time to Tommy and to I'm Your Mate up ahead. The Scottish is really closing, pushing really hard to close back into the back of the Haas here. Will be in DRS range as we come to the line. Andy also trying to close on Mac Chan a bit further down the field. In fact, he might be in a position to go for a move across the start-finish line as well, but we'll watch Scottish first off. It doesn't look like Baz has got a massive amount to defend this one. Scottish has got so much more grip and so much more traction. Bassett gets DRS from the other Haas. Is the Scottish going to go for a 50-50? No, he's not. But it causes him to run wide in the wash. And he's lost time. Bassett runs wide through the second part of Spoon. On the traction early. This time he's at the inside for 130R. But Bassett managing to keep that Haas just in front. The Scottish has to just let him go, but Bassett's again run a little wide. There's a little bit of contact. Fair racing between these two. Bassett, though, with no traction coming out the Casio chicane. Surely this time the Scottish is going to go by. And he will. Down into first turn, the Scottish finally gets back past Bassett. He's back up into P4. I don't think the Scottish is going to catch them. Probably used his tyres up quite a lot fighting with Baza. As Vampire now looks to get past the Haas himself. Brilliant defence from Baza, just sits in the middle of the track, but Vampire will go up the inside into 130R. There's no contact, but Baza has to run wide. I think Andy runs wide out of Degner 2. Syme, is he going to look at the hairpin? Yes, he is. Decisive move from the Sauber. As Joker's gone past Mac Chan up ahead as well. Just saw it at the top of shot. Just going around the outside of the McLaren. A couple of decisive moves from the pair of drivers in the Saubers. I'm Your Mate starts the last lap of the Grand Prix. 27 laps around Suzuka, and he's been almost untouchable here once again. It looks for a moment as he drifts well off the road into the wall. Don't know what happened there, but he just went straight on. Right on board with I'm Your Mate for the moment that almost cost him the win. He gets wide through first turn and the car just doesn't like the curbs. Spits him out, spits him straight into the wall. He loses half a front wing, but fortunately has enough of a buffer. How much time has that cost him? Has it cost him enough? It would need to be a 7 or 8 second swing here, and I don't think it's going to be, although it's down to 10 seconds. But with Tommy's penalties as well, I think it'd need to be 6 or 7 seconds the gap, and it's not. It's still 10.5. I'm Your Mate lucks out a little bit there. Don't know what happened to him, but he just went straight on at first turn, but he's through the hairpin now. Just needs to see his way to the end of the race. Apart from that one mistake, it's been another absolutely dominant performance from the Ferrari and defending champion. One hand on the title already, you feel, with just 3 races left after this one. There'll be 88 points available after this race, just because of our point system. But I'm Your Mate comes through the Casio chicane, and he will cross the line to take victory in Japan. Another victory this season. Tommy will then come through Casio. 11 seconds or so. He will take second on the road, but I think he's going to fall behind this man here, Bunny's Vengeance, across the line. Yep, Bunny's Vengeance takes second. Tommy takes third. The Scottish will take fourth. Vampire takes fifth, ahead of Rover, who's been lapped. Bazza will come home sixth. There he is, coming through 130R. Looks like Simon's closing up to Matchan a little bit further behind, but we'll cross to that in just a moment. There's Bazza now, taking P6 in the Haas. Joker will take P7. We'll see how penalties shake everything out, because I think Andy might claim a few spots here as well. But Joker comes into Casio in the Sauber. Bounces across the curbs. Perpetual's done for the day. He's been lapped. Joker will cross the line at P7. Matchan will have DRS Simon for very close company. Syme, though, is 8th. Andy will... Syme's lost it. I think Syme's lost it at the end. Andy takes 7th. Joker's 8th. Then it's Matchan. Then Syme. He's in the pits. I think he's lost it through the final couple of corners. And Davasaurus is going to come home in P11, but he'll jump Syme because Syme's still in the pits. There he is. He'll cross the line now. 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, but Syme, right at the death, I think, has lost it. I'm Your Mate takes yet another victory in Horizon. So that was the Japanese Grand Prix and yet another victory for I'm Your Mate. Let's take a look at the classified results. I'm Your Mate takes that victory by only 1.8 seconds with penalties in the end. Bunny's Vengeance gets second and driver of the day. Tommy takes the final podium place with the Scottish, Vampire, Bazza, Andy, Joker, Matchan and Davasaurus your top 10. That means the gap is now 61 points between I'm Your Mate. The Scottish moves clear in second with no 6 driving. Bunny moves at the 4th with Syke also not driving as Tommy moves into 6th. Matchan moves into the top 13 with that result. Still no points on the board for Jimmy, Stevie and 3 Portas, who are yet to set foot on the track since Jimmy's race in Belgium. I'm Your Mate leads the way by 42 points in Platinum ahead of the Scottish, who moves clear of 6 Pompano. Tommy is now just 20 behind the Welshman, but crucially 8 clear of Vampire. Bunny's Vengeance moves into the lead in gold by 12 points with Syke Snipes, who didn't race in Japan. Perpetual breaks the 100-point barrier, but is quite the distance off the top 2. Andy extends his lead in silver to 20 points over Bazza. Vibs didn't drive in Japan, but Syme did and closes just a little bit closer to Vibs ahead. Davasaurus remains in the lead in bronze, some 22 clear of Matchan. Rover solidifies his 3rd place with Lewis still just ahead of Alfie, who didn't manage to score. And Joker extends his lead in D-Class, the only D-Class driver to take to the track in Japan, so all other standings remain as is. In the Constructors, McLaren jumped ahead of RB into 2nd, but are still some ways behind Ferrari. Williams, Alpine, Haas and Mercedes all remain ahead of our reservists, and Aston Martin are closing in on the back of that class. So that was Japan a week later than planned. but another great race. Only 3 to go now. Can anyone stop Finally Mate taking the title? Tune into the next one. Like, share, subscribe, comment, do all the good stuff. I'll see you soon.